Our key cylinder broke off and fell down into the door. Today we're going to get that fixed. Alright, so we got the bezel off. However, there are 3 bolts. If you just remove the 2 bolts for the door handle and then pop it off like some people recommend in their videos, you're going to break these here. That one luckily came out. There's a 3rd bolt right there. It's not 10 millimeter. I'm not sure what that is yet. We're going to get that figured out and get that off. But if you pop that off without getting this out, you're going to put a hole right there and crack that. So do not just remove the 2 bolts and then pop it off. All right, this is your door handle. You got your 2 10 millimeter nuts to the left and right. The 3rd one is down to the right. It's off screen right now, but that's also a 10 millimeter. All right, we got the 2 bolts off right there for your door handle. Now, if you come over here, right there's that 3rd bolt you need to get out. That way you can get that off without breaking it. You can see exactly where it's at. Right up in there. Here's that broken piece. And take the lights out. That way we can take this inside and get it fixed. You can see right here how these will come in. So those should have been popped out from the inside with tweezers or needle nose pliers. All right, we're gonna be using JB Weld to make this fix. All right, so you're gonna have a push pin right back in there. Right down there. That's where another one was at. Luckily that one came out with the bezel. And then right there. That one's loose. Now we're gonna do the other 2. And this would have made getting that bezel so much easier. Sorry. There we go. And that one good. Put the phone down for this one. All right, we got those 3 all out now. They're pushed out. Make sure you get your long pair of needle nose pliers. Your standard pair might do the job, but it's gonna be more difficult. Okay. I guess I forgot to hit record, so you have to slot these back into those holes. All we gotta do now is wait for that to dry up and get the key put back in there, and I'll get it back on the truck. All right, we're gonna get this rod right here disconnected from the key cylinder first. Once you get that disconnected, you're gonna go ahead and disconnect that wiring harness. This is how that sits in there. Let's see, that part right there broke, that part right there broke, or that part there and that part there. Take these screws out and use JB Weld to get that back in, and then we'll screw it back in once it dries. Alright, those are lined up where they need to be for now. We'll let it set up some more, get stiff, and then we'll add some more. Alright, we got all the tabs put back in, the key cylinder's back on. All this is fixed now. Those screws are longer than those plastic tabs that they screw into, so some of the JB Weld got underneath them. So I had to drill out this one right here a little bit with a small drill. Before, it wasn't letting the screw go down, so it's starting to strip out the threads on the top, but once you drilled it out, it worked pretty good. Well, it's back in there, everything's nice and good. That's what that hole looks like right now on the front. At least it's sealed up for now. I'll sand it out later, fill it with some stuff, and we're going to respray paint this black. People before, well, not before me, but a person that they had before, the person before me decided to rattle can this whole thing red, so it's going to get a new paint job eventually. All right, we're going to get the license plate lights back on and then pop this bezel back in. All right, this pin, it's too broken to continue to use. I tried it a couple times, it just keeps falling out. So I'm gonna use a zip tie in its place. All right, now we're gonna take a pair of clippers like this to get that out of there. Your little homemade clip right there. Back to this side. Everything's back together. All right, we got that screwed on. Before you do, make sure you got that right side up. It flipped around when it was hanging down here. So in order to get the handle to work, right there has to be lined up right. We're gonna clip that in next. Then reattach that bar right there. I can't do it with the one hand, so we're gonna put the phone down for now and get this taken care of. All right, before we put the black cover back on, let's see. There's one hole, there's another hole. That's where this white thing is gonna go. Some people said that theirs is falling down on the bottom here and they found it. They weren't sure where it went, but right there is where it goes. It covers that push rod. So we can get that put in and then get the cover back on. Make sure you get this black panel, put in those white tabs right there. I didn't do it the first time. I had to take it back off and redo it. All right, we got everything back together. Zip tie's holding that on good. Key works again. When it rolls down again, we can open it. So it's ready for our camping trip coming up.